Welcome in, everybody. Paid for Play Saturday. Sadly, the last loaded slate, but you already know it just gets a little bit better because we get conference tournament championships of all the big guys next Saturday. Then we're into March Madness. So your last Saturday where you got over 100 games on the slate. You already know Paid for Play, the top college sports betting outlet out there on Twitter. And the number one betting content out there is always Daily Bread Media on YouTube. So if you're following us and live with us on Twitter at Paid for Play, thank you very much. We'll try to shout out your comments. We still can't show them, but if you want to be featured in the show, the best place to do that is on YouTube at Daily Bread Media. Got our man Keith Betts, who taps in with us each Saturday morning. We got Kevin C with us as well. So make sure you get that coffee going. If you're on the West Coast, you can even throw in those AirPods and take your dog for a walk if you want to. But you already know what it is. Drop out your plays. Tell Goose he's got a nice haircut, but he's not showing it off today. Say Steven looks a little tired, whatever the fuck you want to do. That's what the chat is for. Steven, we got to start off with you because your Morehead boys came out big last night. That was one of your plays in our spaces yesterday. How you feeling?
I'm feeling good. It's nice to still have this plus 900 ticket on them to win the OVC still alive tonight. Big game. If my voice doesn't sound the best, it was a late night last night. But you know, just because it might sound gross doesn't mean the plays are not good.
Goose, how you doing today, my man?
I'm feeling great. This is where it's time to peak. It's March. It's time to peak for bettors. It's time to peak for teams. We're flocking today, and fade Goose at your own risk. That's all I got to say. I'm gonna keep it light.
Why would anyone want to be fading Goose? And you already know Goose is feeling good because when I started up the pregame chat for us to get there, Pimpin' All Over the World was playing, and Goose just started rocking without even seeing it. So you already know Sosa, nice little night with the Sixers last night. You're ready to reinvest those plus money winners you gave out to everybody for free?
For free.
Man, that's all I get out of them.
For free.
For free.
For free. Hey, man. Do your thing. It's all love from me, man. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no hate in my blood. I love everyone. You know?
Goose ain't hungover. Goose is feeling great. I think the only hungover one here is Steven, but it is what it is on that front. Last 2 days, not the biggest or the best games, but today it is jam-packed. So we picked 6 of our favorite. If this is your first time tapping in with us, we give you 6 game previews, your best bets. Drop your plays in there. I'll star them. I shout them out at the end of the show right before we do our full cards. And yep, even though one of the 6 games we didn't talk about, we'll give out our best plays for free of all here. Usually a 6-pack. Steven gets a little crazy. Sometimes it's a little less, but it is last Saturday. So who the hell knows what we could be rocking with Senior Day at a lot of places. So we can gauge motivation, conference tournaments for some games, because we'll have the OVC final as our second to last game that we will cover. And if you're watching us on YouTube, you have the schedule of what the games we're going to be talking about.
Yes, sir.
Anything anyone wants to shout out before we get into the first game that tips at noon?
Your family, your religion, and Rutgers basketball. Sorry. I needed something to shout out. You asked.
No, when it comes down to watching games tonight, you want to be watching the ASUN tournament. Maybe not because they're the highest quality games, but I mean they're just true home games in conference tournaments that are going to be either packed or sold out because you got 2 very close proximity rivals, and the games themselves are going to be real good close games. So have that shit on at least one screen tonight.
All right, Akbar, Cedric, Harris, our man Chuck. We got everyone with us in our chat. We got over 50 people tapped in with us between YouTube and Twitter. So let's just get right into it. First game of the day, SEC battle. Arkansas going to Tennessee here. Man, no bias here in this game, but 5.5 at home for Tennessee. Total 139.5. You can get Woo Pig Suey plus 210 on the money line. Steven, you said you wanted to break this one down first, so give it to me.
Yep. So sadly, I know what we say about Rick Barnes all the time, and I don't want to be on him, but this Tennessee team is still an undefeated team at home. So, well, I don't think they cover. I will be taking Arkansas plus the points. I think they end up losing a close game, which sucks because I would much rather have Arkansas get the wins and move up on the seed lines for the tournament. But just something about playing in Tennessee this year. Teams, no matter how good they are, haven't been able to come out with a win.
This is a big game for seeding, as you mentioned, because Kentucky doesn't have an easy game either going to Florida. But Tennessee, Arkansas, and Kentucky, they're all at 13-4. Auburn sitting at 14-3. So the SEC could be a huge mishmash. Who the hell knows who's going to end up in top in that tournament? But here in this one, I got to just lean the under here, even though Arkansas has, with their pace and with just Tony's and Nota's scoring ability, has pushed games over just when they look dead and dusted, even though they've gone slow. That huge comeback win, which was helped by the refs against LSU, is their previous game. Steven, I just think it's hard to run the entire SEC season, and even if you count non-con, just going completely clean at home. I think Arkansas goes in and gets the win. It's my hungry dog of the day. Starts us off at noon. I'm taking Woo Pig Suey on the money line at plus 210.
Okay.
The main reason why I like this here is I just think Arkansas is going to be able to beat them up on the inside. It's really about it. Vescovi, I think he could get hot and could cause trouble because Arkansas doesn't lock down the guards at the best ability. But with the inside, I just think Arkansas can win a half-court game just with the half-court battle with the 2-point offense. So we like the dog early. Goose, what are you rocking with in here, if anything?
Yeah, so I mean, I just look at the Tennessee's last two home games, which we talk about Tennessee every week. We probably talked about these two on the stream. But their last two home games, they beat Auburn by 5, so they covered the -3. And they beat Kentucky by 13, and they covered the 1.5. And those two teams are elite that they beat. And they're playing another elite team in Arkansas. It's just this Tennessee team at home is special. And when I look at this Arkansas team, they've done a lot of their damage at home. So I do think it's a good time for Tennessee to play them. They lost by 10 at Arkansas. And I just think it's a good time to play them because these teams feed off the home crowd energy, and that's why Tennessee is 15-0 at home. I got to give them credit to their home crowd, and it's because of the way Tennessee plays. They shoot a lot of threes. Fans love the three ball, and you shoot threes, you hit threes, the crowd gets loud, and the other team gets intimidated. We're talking about 18, 19, 20-year-olds, and so I think it's going to be a close game first half. I think Arkansas could even win the first half. But ultimately, I think Tennessee gets a late run around with 5 minutes left. They go up by like 9, and they control the rest of the game. So I would lean Tennessee. I think it's -5.5 now. The line's down a little. I saw it at 6.5 this morning. So I'm going to go against the money movement, and I'm going to say Tennessee pulls it out.
Goose, you can be on Goose Island here if you want and lay it. Never be afraid, even though it is my hungry dog. It's not always like it's going to come through. Sosa, you got any thoughts here? It's just the 48 points that they put up. I know the revenge spot, senior day, yada, 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 but it's hard to change getting more than 48 the last time out.
If I were to play this, I would have played Arkansas with the points. So That's nothing official, but I mean, I think you're on the right track with this one. Guard play obviously is what's making the difference for you. Guard play and their ability to rebound the ball. I like. I would roll with Arkansas with the points if I had a plan this.
All right.
I'm
Next
an island
game
boy today.
And I'm never fucking betting on Rick Barnes. Like it's just not gonna happen.
If you really have to do something today, like show your family, your loved ones, anyone attention, just allocate the 2:00 window. I'm not saying it sucks, but all the better games are kind of spaced out. So if you have to do something today, plan your errands for whatever you have to do at 2, because I always know how to work these Saturday slates viewing wise. 4 p.m. game, the best conference out there in college hoops, the toughest one to run through defensive wise. And I'm going to say it now, offensive wise as well. The Big Ten, you just have weaker defenses. That's why your offense looks more elite. But we got Kansas hosting Texas here. Another big game seeding wise, with Kansas sitting at 13-4 in conference play, Texas sitting at 10-7. Texas is kind of like locked into that spot, so they can't really move up or down. Since Oklahoma State can't participate, they're already locked into a bye as well. Technically every team has a bye. So for the last two, they're hosting a game or have the higher seed here. For this matchup, we got the pace battle contrast again. Kansas is going to try to fly 72 overall in pace. Texas is going to try to slow it down. Even though they have the athletes, they do not like to run it. They like to run that slow. It's becoming more efficient. It pops. And Texas, in my opinion, had their best offensive efficiency game of the season when they hosted Kansas earlier this season. They had to go offense toe for toe. They ended up breaking 75 with ease here. Even with that slower pace, they're able to take advantage of the inside there. Timmy Allen has really, I don't want to say made a name for himself, but like if there was like a most improved player in college hoops, he could probably be out, because no one had high expectations for him. And that just shows what Beard did, because also Christian Bishop to transfer. He kind of looked like the scrub in the Big East, nothing special. And now he's coming off the bench and playing a great role for Texas here. So that's where in this game, I have nothing. This is my put my feet up, watch, and enjoy game of the day. Just because with Texas's Beard's teams always come out motivated. So that's my part. Is the 6.5 seems like a lock, but rock chalk, it could be one of the last good games. 6.5, total 137. Does anyone have a play in this one?
I have a lean, not a full play. I talked trends last game that we just talked about. I'm going to talk trends again. My cherry pick stat of the show: when Texas plays a top 15 team, they are 1-6. They lose to good teams, which is common, but at the end of the day, they don't beat the top tier teams. So, and then they are 3-8 against the spread on the road. So they lose to good teams and they don't bring it on the road a lot. They again feed off their home crowd, just like every college student does. But I think Kansas goes in with the win. They're still in the Big 12 regular season, splitting the conference championship race. I think they pull away at the end, especially after Texas played lights out and won by 3 at home. What was that, like a month ago? So yeah. I circle Kansas in this game for my play.
Sosa, who did you circle in this game? My man's talking on mute again.
Man, Texas is cancer, bro. Beard is good, but right now, I'm not betting on either. I'm not betting on Texas, and I can't bet on Bell Self. So I got nothing. But I mean, if it were a matchup, if we're picking in this matchup, you'd have to pick the better of the two coaches. It'd be Chris Beard. But this Kansas team is much more talented and could easily run them out the gym if they just hit perimeter shots. Texas has lulls where they just don't score. I mean, which is kind of a staple for Chris Beard teams. They don't really ever overpower you offensively. But yeah, it's from, if we're looking at it from a tactics standpoint, Chris Beard would win that. But if we're looking at it from a talent standpoint, this Kansas team, I think, has been wildly disrespected all season. I mean, they've been right there in the mix all season, and so I don't like the coach, so it's a stay away from me. But if anything, it'd be a lean under, if anything.
Hey, Chuck, TCU's been a little bit tough, and they're going to be I don't think they're going to be a sneaky tournament team, but they've made their way into March Madness, in my opinion. Steven, who are you rocking with here? Do you have an official play?
Not an official play. I don't know. This game feels weird because before when you sent us the link, it said it was Kansas -4. It's now up to Kansas -6.5 already. So that big a line movement just this morning is kind of making me think somebody from Texas is out. If not, I don't know what's going on here. I guess it would just kind of have to be the under, just with how slow Texas plays. But no, this is just a sit back and watch game for me more than it is risk anything on it.
Yeah, my hardest part and with today's slate, the way I'm navigating it is I'm just staying away from trying to back a team that has nothing to play for like Texas does. They're that 4 seed no matter what. So we don't know, not saying they're going to go through a walkthrough out there, but are they really going to show their hand after taking them down at home? Could they just run vanilla offense, vanilla defense, just get out of the way? Nate, we'll hit up your question. I started, so we'll talk about that Bama game at the end. That was the one that just missed the cut. All right, we're live on Twitter at Paid for Play. Like, retweet, follow if you already haven't. Live on YouTube, Daily Bread Media. Make sure to like today's episode. Really helps us get out there and like it. And Sosa, you have to talk this one first, our next game, because how many times will Coach K's name be said in this segment? Sosa, the last home game, yada, 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 double-digit spread, total sitting at 154.
Bro, I'm just happy. I'm just happy he's gone. That's all I really got. I think UNC has a very good chance of covering in the game. They usually do. Last time they played us, obviously they blitzed us and smoked us, got us out the paint very fast. As far as I'm concerned, I think everybody and their mother expects for Duke to come out here and have that emotional high of him, getting ready to retire. And, every single person that is affiliated with the program in the history of the program is going to be there tonight. So just from an emotional standpoint, I think Duke wins the game. I do. I can't really shy away from it. Obviously, they're huge favorites for a reason. I don't think Duke can afford to lose the game like this. They have to win this last game and get ready for the ACC tournament. If they lose the finale, that would be. I'm obviously hoping that happens, but I couldn't. I couldn't put my money on North Carolina today. Shout out to Bob Knight though. Without him, none of this would be possible. He put Mike Krzyzewski in a position to be successful when he was 21 years old. He is the reason why Mike Krzyzewski has been so successful as a head coach, because he mirrored every single thing that Bob Knight did, but he did it without having to be a complete dick. Well, at least publicly. So shout out to Coach K. He built the program, high academics. And then, he started paying kids onto the books like every other coach, but he was able to cover it up with Nike checks, literally. So, great career. I'm hoping he enjoys the golf course. Him and his wife have, huge investments in lifetime contracts at Duke. I do hope that John Shire falls on his fucking face, even though somehow I don't know what he's doing to tell these kids to come to Duke, but the recruiting class he's got coming in, insane, absolutely insane. And yeah, that's really all I got. Fuck Duke. I hope they lose. Fuck Coach K too. Y'all, that's what y'all really wanted to hear. Fuck that guy. He's been the bane of my existence for over 20 years. Like, I'm glad he's getting the fuck out of here. At least he didn't have to do him like Old Yeller. All right, I'm done.
So I got a question for you. How many Super Bowls have you been to?
2.
You see, I feel like this is almost like a Super Bowl atmosphere game. When I say that, the ticket prices are astronomical.
6 bands for the worst seat in the house.
Will the home crowd be a little too proper and not as fired up? It's good. I feel like there's going to be some weird energy. The passionate drunk fan, I don't think is going to be there tonight. The way I'm looking at this game, Cameron Indoor is great home court arena, and it's going to be buzzing. But I feel like it's just going to be a little step not as wild today. That's just how I'm seeing it. No,
I don't know if I ever told you a story about Cameron Indoor. You know, all their chairs are scripted.
Mm-hmm.
So like when you walk in, they give you a piece of paper and they tell you like when certain. It's never not going to be crazy loud because that shit's not real. It's fucking nerds that came up with the plan.
But paying $5,000 for a seat, I just feel like they don't bring it like someone.
Listen, it's in okay, and when you say that, here's my counter to that. Life is about experiences. It's about experiencing things that are for some people once in a lifetime. I prefer to go to things and do things that are never in a lifetime. So if you want to go to something that's never in a lifetime, something that you're never going to see again, it's no price tag on that because the experience of it is you'll be able to tell your kids about that forever. You feel what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's really more what I look at it as. When people say something's expensive, it's not expensive. It's what's worth your money. You feel what I'm saying? That's what it boils down to. If it's worth your money, then spend it on what you want to. But
that's the best lesson of the show.
As far as saying
we've had in weeks,
as far as saying something's expensive to you or maybe to somebody else or whomever, right? But at the end of the day, for me, life is about experiences, and I love those moments in life where I can say, "Yo, I was there," instead of I was at my mom's house watching that.
I like that. I feel like you just dropped a gem of a lesson right there. I'm gonna remember that one.
Absolutely.
Look, I think Duke wins the game. I just think it's a close one. I think UNC can hang with them, and it's just the way I'm viewing this game. It's a Super Bowl atmosphere. It's such a high moment, and it would just be fitting that Duke wins by like 3 or 4 instead of blowing them out because it's against UNC. The narrative to me is Duke wins in a nail biter. So with the spread being 11.5, I'm looking to back UNC.
Steven, game-wise, break this one down for me, if there's anything, because I think it's an open court the entire game type flow.
Yeah, I kind of like the over. I think Duke's going to come out hot from the field. I think UNC is a good enough offensive team, will not being very good on defense to help get us this over. But I do think Goose was a little right. Like the student section is going to be crazy, but some of those tickets are going for like 30, 40 grand a pop. Like you really think the people that are going to come in there and just be screaming the whole time and really being crazy are also the people that are dropping 30 grand on a ticket? Like it's a different kind of customer that's probably getting brought into this game tonight. So I could see it outside of the student section being a little bit more subdued than you would expect for this game. So I do like the North Carolina plus 11.5 here.
All right. Next game that we got up on the docket might not mean much to the squads, but low-key one of the better games out there today with Boise State traveling to Colorado State. So we hope our man Jose from Straight Bet Sports Talk, we saw him shout out in the comments. He's joining us from California today, but he's someone who makes sure to tap in with us each episode, and we appreciate the support. Me and Steven and Sosa's been on his show as well. It's great to be out there on the show. Joe Brunk, first time comment from him on the show, and he says, "Fuck Duke."
Does Jose ever sleep?
Yo, wait, hold on, wait. Isn't he supposed to be playing for Ohio State today?
Yeah, Joey Brunk from Ohio State is tapping into the show.
Hey, okay.
No, that's our man Joey B from a prior lifetime from LBFC. All right, Mountain West. We got Colorado State, Boise State, flat 3 sitting out here today. Steven, your Boise boys have already secured the title. They're going to be the number 1 seed in Vegas at UNLV's court. Still weird that they get to host it, but it usually has never mattered for them. Sorry, Jose. Colorado State, is their offense going to be able to keep cooking, to be able to go against Boise's length? Because that's what and how Boise has run through this Mountain West, is they finally have gotten the size with the mix of offense that has clicked together well in order to make them explode. They've won. If you missed this game previously at Boise State, Colorado State did go in there and get the dub in overtime, 77-74. I think personally Colorado State wins this game at home, covers the flat 3. So I'll be rocking with the Rams today, -3, -1, or -3, -110. I think they get both wins. And then when you win both times against a team, that narrative of it's hard to beat a team 3 times in a row in the season is completely false, because the team that's won the first 2 games is winning at a 70% clip over the past 6 seasons. So big game, Steven. If they don't come out hot, Colorado State might roll. What do you think?
I think if they had beat Colorado State the first time, then this game wouldn't matter and they'd get rolled tonight. A little bit kind of like, yeah, I'm not even going to make the comparison because it's not a fair comparison. But
good.
Like, I think they're going to come out. I think they're going to come out and try to win tonight, but Colorado State, probably on their senior night with those guys at home, is going to be very tough to beat. I think if they get to a neutral court with Boise State fully healthy, then I would still give Boise State a slight edge. But just all the factors in Colorado State's favor, it's very tough not to take them minus the 3.5 tonight.
And if it's something you want to do, I got the flat 3 because it was out there earlier. You can still get a flat 3 out of PointsBet and other shops as well. So try to avoid that hook as much as you can. But obviously, I'd still play the 3.5 if that's your only option, because I need that to cover the win. Goose, wrap this one up for me before we get into the OVC ship. And I need Sosa's thoughts on what he saw last night in one of the games from the OVC ship. So Goose, wrap up this Mountain West battle for me.
I think Boise State's too good of a team to lose twice to Colorado State. Acott, the 6'8" guy on Boise State, he didn't play last game at Colorado State, and I think he adds just a different layer. He's a 10-point scorer. He's a long, athletic defender. I think his presence today gets Boise State the win.
All right, let's get to the OVC championship game. Morehead State versus Murray. Before Steven breaks it down matchup-wise, Sosa, how lucky, or what did you think of that Morehead State Belmont game I made you watch last night?
Man, the coach has got to be sick. That whole call a timeout when your team hits a 3 thing, it's not the first time we've seen that happen. But he got mad because he felt like the ref called it late, but he was trying to call a timeout to save his point guard from a backcourt violation that they really should have called, which they didn't, because they looked like it got deflected, but it really didn't. And I thought it was a poorly drawn up play at the very end. I don't like the pin down for a big, especially when the big is going up against the conference's best defensive player. Like, what are you doing? Like, that was a very poorly designed last play. And they didn't even need a 3 at the end, did they? They needed just a 2, correct?
Yep.
Again, just poorly designed, poor design. The coach didn't really give his team a chance there at the end, in my opinion. And obviously it was fucking boring. I mean, there was a stretch where I think there was one stretch where there was 6 consecutive turnovers at one point, where it was going back and forth, and they were just doing nothing but turning the ball over. So not necessarily the best display of basketball. But hey, Morehead State. Steven, you look like a genius.
Give me the X's and O's of this one because I know you loved Murray early and you're trying to get them to height. Morehead, they need this win to get into the tournament. Maybe Murray gets in at an at-large if Morehead wins. So could the OVC do something fishy with the officiating to try to get 2 teams in there? Who the hell knows? Steven, just give it to me, X's and O's.
Well, I mean, I think with Murray State being ranked right now, you can't say one loss to a team with 22 wins is going to knock them all the way out of the tournament. I don't really care what conference you're in. But no, I love the way Morehead State matches up with a lot of the teams here because Janai Broom is such a dominant interior piece that there really isn't anybody where like anybody else is big. Morehead State doesn't need to double them because you got somebody that's going to lock them down one-on-one regardless. So Morehead State can keep their other 4 essentially guards outside, just guarding people on the 3 and switching the majority of screens. I think they're just a bad matchup for these other good teams. Like you saw it all season against Belmont. Belmont never had a game where they looked good when they played Morehead State in all 3 of the matchups. Morehead State also held the lead for the majority of the game against Murray State the last time they played. Like they're not coming in looking at the number next to their name saying, oh, this team's got to be so much better than us. Like they know they can play with this team. And with that number sitting at plus 7.5, I gotta take Morehead State plus the points, and I'm gonna take Morehead State money line because I also have my Morehead State to win the OVC ticket at plus 900 that could cash tonight. So I think this is a pretty even game. I wouldn't be surprised if either team wins, but I'm rocking with Morehead State.
Goose, what do you got for this one?
So I'm almost with Steven, but I'm only with him for 20 minutes. I think Morehead State wins the first half. I think they're playing with confidence right now. They about a month ago, they had a stretch where they lost by 1 to Belmont and lost by 4 to Murray State and close games, and they just beat Belmont. Like, they know they can win. The only reason I don't like Morehead State full game is they're fighting for their tournament lives, and if they're down 5 with a minute left, it's going to be such a foul show that I could see Murray State winning by like 11 because of all the late game foul shots. I see a very late Murray State cover because of teams won't give up. Even if they're down 10, teams won't give up and they'll foul when normally they'll dribble it out. It's this is a chance for Morehead State to make the NCAA tournament, and that's just such a dream come true that I think at the end they'll have to eventually – talent will overcome and Murray State will get fouled on their way to the cover.
All right, let's get into the final game of the night. And Goose, you can hit us with this one first. Late night Pac-12 action, USC, UCLA. Always a good one. What do you like here?
I'm not going to play my song this time. That was like last month when I was feeling extra good. I still like UCLA, though. I mean, they shot 29.7% against USC last time. That's a credit to USC's defense, but UCLA just played bad. Jaquez, Bernard, and Juzang shot 7 for 36. That's just not going to happen again. I think UCLA has the size also to defend Mobley. Miles Johnson only had 2 points in the last game, but he had 11 rebounds. Like, he plays, he gets the rebounds, and he neutralizes USC's big. So I think rivalry game. Mick Cronin's 0-5 against USC. This is his most talented team. This is just a great group of talent. This is his time to make a statement win. If it's not going to happen now, it feels like it's never going to happen. So I like UCLA to win by 10 plus as a statement game to finally get their first win against their rivals.
Steven, Sosa, either of you guys have any thoughts on this one before we get into our full betting cards of the day?
I have a very weird conspiracy with USC where
Ooh.
I think
Tinfoil hat time.
I think there might
let's hear it.
I think there might be a real big scandal coming out of them in about a year or two, because I think they might be point shaving just a little bit. They've had some real big leads that they've given up to very much so inferior teams just to not cover. But saying that, they do, as underdogs, they do tend to cover pretty well. So I think they can keep it within the 7.5 here. But just a couple examples for that conspiracy theory. You had the St. Joe's game where they were up by at least 20 with less than 10 minutes in the game, ended up giving up the cover. You had it in the Temple game that was like sneaky, like
they battled tough to the end.
And so they were up by like 25 on Temple, and then they ended up not covering. It's happened a lot more times than you would expect for a team that's supposed to be very good. But I do think they cover against UCLA.
Couldn't have picked any other game but that one.
Hey, those were just the first two I went back to double check. I know
it's
happened.
They did the shit like 8 times this year, and he picked the one game for Rex to be happy about. Like, come on.
I mean, the St. Joe's mask, the Hawk is still in Steven's profile picture, so maybe Steven's just a closet St. Joe's fan.
Aren't y'all like 3-50?
No, we got 10 wins this year. We broke double digits.
Oh,
We're 3-50 in conference play though.
That's right. 3-15, not 3-50. My bad. They sound the same. You know what I mean? My bad.
Hey, I hope 3-50 would be true, because then maybe Billy Lang would get fucking fired.
Oof.
So you got anything for this one?
Sorry, real quick. Now that you brought that up, I just want to announce how the extreme level of institutional failure that exists at St. Joseph's University. I think we should acknowledge that before moving forward. Can we acknowledge that there's a level of just institutional? What is it?
It's when they fired the old AD and they brought in the new AD, Jill, and she said, "Phil, get out of here," to try to save money. Which
they're just not. They're just, yeah, man. The people that go there just aren't smart. All right,
Rex about to play some Marvin's Room after that.
So in this UCLA game, no one wants to lay the 7.5 or take the 7.5 here.
I like UCLA to cover it. I think I got the statement win.
If I had a free play in this one, I'd probably have to take the over here. I think both of these teams, they'll run it up. Last game, it's 135, which just seems a little too low for my liking. A little sketchy, but we'll get into our full plays of the day. Well, before we get to that, we'll shout out to everyone's plays who they dropped in there. There weren't that many plays dropped in today's show, so if you want, you can still get to it. Our main man, Keith, started off with saying Middle Tennessee. I believing that's going to cover and win outright against ODU. We got our guy Harris saying TCU money line. That's a nice one. And Nate, we'll get back to your question here with the Bama money line. This seems just sketchy, where I know Bama has been completely up and down this entire season. LSU's coming off that terrible gut-wrenching loss. Why is it 3.5 to LSU at home against the ranked team? Usually when you see the unranked team as that big of favorites against ranked teams, it's probably telling you something. Both of these teams need this game just as much as the other one do, because they're both 9-8, or Alabama's 9-8 in conference, LSU's 8-9 in conference. I don't think I'll be ever able to get out of Alabama making every single three in the court at the one game last year, but that just hasn't been their thing, and that's why we've seen Alabama be struggling this entire year. Anyone got to play in this game? Anyone rocking with the Bama money line?
Shout out Dumb Brain Picks.
He's probably rocking with LSU minus 3.5. JP,
Yeah,
I like that
it.
one. My plus 900 future needs them to win outright. Doesn't need them that plus 6 to win the 8, or because if they get to the finals against Liberty and the 8 Sun, I'm just hedging the fuck out of that bet and running away with 5 units. But that's in the different story. Chuck is rocking USC plus 7.5. What were you going to say, Steven?
I was just gonna say I can never trust Alabama away from home. It doesn't matter who they're playing. They're a below average road team. So I almost think it means more to LSU. I don't know. LSU needs to see a
means
win
more in general.
Well, yeah, no, I mean like it because after the way LSU started, they've had such a slide in conference play. I think they need to see a win over a ranked team before they start getting into the conference tournament or the NCAA tournament. I know Alabama's barely ranked, but I mean it's close enough where I think LSU is just going to take it more seriously and they're going to win and cover at home.
Last thing I just want to shout out before we get into our full cards, all our best bets. So if you tapped in with us, perfect time. Paid for play on Twitter. Give us a like, retweet, follow. Appreciate that. On YouTube, make sure to give us a like. We got over 80 people tapped in with us. The perfect time to give out our best bets. I hate how I can't bet on Grant Sherfield's points tonight. Last game for Nevada at home. Yes, San Diego State. Top 5 defense going in there. I still think Sherfield goes nuts tonight. Nope, DraftKings doesn't have the lineup available. I want that more than anything tonight. I don't want to take the +4 with Nevada. I think that's a fish move, but I want Sherfield's points if it's available.
Texas Tech.
All right, who wants to give out their full betting card first?
Let's start up with Goose. Fade Goose at your own risk.
All right, let's hear it, Goose.
So I've given out like my thoughts on the main 6 plays or 6 games throughout the whole stream. I'm just gonna give out 4 plays at games we didn't talk about because you guys know my feelings on the top 6. So I like Virginia Tech -2.5 at Clemson. They're 9-1 in their last 10. They're still on the bubble. I think they come out with another win and play themselves into the tournament. I like Purdue -10. They're playing Indiana, a rivalry game. Indiana just had a crushing loss to a school from New Jersey. And I think Purdue rolls over them because they're at home. VMI, we talked about the SoCon the other night on Paid for Play. And I think they get the win, but I'm going to take them +5.5 versus Wofford. And my last one, Oregon +2. It's desperation time for the Ducks. They really need to start making a run, or this team with that talent will be an NIT team. So I think they come out with the dub today at Washington State, who's a train wreck in themselves for the most part lately.
Mm-hmm.
Love it, Goose. I was wondering if anyone was going to be back in the Ducks. Ducks and Goose are close enough, I guess. Steven, hit me with your full card.
All right. I'm just going with
Might
the
be a
first
CVS list, so get ready, fellas.
I'm just going with the first 6 conference tournament games because if I were to give out all of them here, everybody would leave before I was even done. So I'm going with the Longwood USC Upstate over 144. Also, I have something to say about that team after we do the cards because there was something that came out yesterday that was hilarious to me. I'm taking the Citadel Chattanooga game over 146. I'm taking Texas State over UL Lafayette with a -4.5. I'm taking Winthrop over Gardner Webb, also at the -5. This one feels gross, but I'm taking VMI Wofford under 146.5. I think they take a lot of threes, but I don't think they hit a ton of threes. And then my last one, I think Little Rock is finding some confidence. Not enough confidence to beat Troy, but enough confidence to stay within 9 of Troy. So those are my 6.
All right, Sosa.
All right. I got four plays and a parlay for the people.
Oh, shit, a parlay. The magic word.
The magic words. First play of the day is going to be North Carolina plus 11.5. They're going to cover against Duke. The second play that I love is Oregon plus the 2.5. I have no idea why, because Washington State fucking stinks. I think Oregon should handle them, to be totally honest.
Mhm.
I'm on the Miami Hurricanes plus 2 today. If you're scared, go to church. I don't have time for the foolishness. They're going up against Syracuse. I'm not scared of Syracuse. I like Miami today.
Mhm.
I like USC plus 8 at minus 110. And then the 2-part parlay is LSU money line, Texas Tech money line.
Ooh,
I like
That's
it.
I like
rolling with.
that.
I like it.
That's what I'm rolling with. Let's cash out today.
Shout out to our guy, Beer Guy. Yeah, listen to him. Hit us up with those likes. Taylor Smith is rocking with you and Goose on that Oregon money line. And here comes my full card of the day. You already know it's always going to be a 6-pack Saturdays. We gave out 2 plays on the stream, so I'll give it out in time order. We got Arkansas money line plus 210. Hopefully starting off the day right with a hungry dog and a nice 2-unit in the bank. You already know the next play. We're doubling down on this one. They're taking a first half and the full game. George Mason minus 4 first half, minus 110. George Mason minus 7.5, minus 110. They're playing UMass at home. UMass doesn't have a head coach this game. McCall's gone. It's worked once. We're going to get it again. Colorado State minus 3, minus 110. Texas A&M minus 2, minus 110. Miss State coming in there 8-9. Big game where Texas A&M needs to dub. They're coming off 3 straight wins. Miss State is primed for a huge letdown spot. 1, they can't play on the road whatsoever or win. 2, that overtime loss against Auburn, where I think they scored 2 points in the entire overtime or something ridiculous like that. Come at home, traveling on the road, they'll get it. And the last one, Sosa, we have to do it. Duke, team total over 82, minus 115. I also think they cover the minus 11, but we're just going to take them to go with the points. UNC's playing. UNC might. The only way UNC wins this game is if they score 90. It's legitimately the only way UNC wins this one.
I ain't saying we was going to win it, but y'all don't see. This is my anticipation. I think this is how I think this one's going to come out. Right? Listen, seniors are going to start for Duke. Right? They're gonna have that huge emotional letdown to start the game. Everybody's fired up, gassed up, and then they come out there bricking. Right? It's going to take them a little minute to get in the flow of things. UNC is going to keep it close for about, 30, 35 minutes. Duke will probably win the game, but they'll win the game by like 8-9 points. 12 is too much. 12 is way too much.
I think it's 85-75. That's my honest prediction.
That works.
That's why I'm taking the over 82 minus 110. They're going to show up on K's last game. I just don't want to lay the big spread. I was deciding between that team total. I also like the Auburn team total as well today, back at home to get right against South Carolina. That's about it.
You're not laying the 15?
What's up?
You're not laying the 15?
No, I don't want to lay the 15. I like it though. I don't want to lay 15.
I can't lay 15 against Frank. Frank will have that team scratching and clawing for 40 minutes no matter what.
Yep.
So I can't do it.
No, it's just the pace. That's why I like the team total there. Theirs is sitting at a flat 80. You can do it. I'm just going to rock with Duke and probably hate myself later. But tomorrow, Daily Bread, probably just an NBA show. There'll be a few college basketball games, but not a lot. Other than that, give us a like, give us a retweet. Goose, Steven, Sosa, we're out until tomorrow. Enjoy your Saturday.
Peace.